Okay.
And we're back.
And we're back.
To Quiet in the Back.
Welcome to Quiet in the Back.
That's right.
We are your weekly and only film review podcast.
That's right. None other exist on Earth.
Best and the brightest here. My name is Patrick William.
And I am Austin Jenny.
And this week we watched Saving Private Ryan.
Yes, Steven Spielberg. Very acclaimed movie.
Yes, highly emotional cinematic movie
Yes.
about World War II.
Yes, kind of a rough watch, to be honest
Yeah,
with
there's
you.
some hard parts.
Yes.
It turns out war is tough.
War never changes.
War is really harsh and brutal.
Yes.
And this movie does not spare you the details.
And not at all. And really, in fact, it's probably one of the most apt adaptations of a conflict I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Really.
Many World War II veterans, when this movie came out, said that it is the most realistic portrayal of the war that has been made.
I believe it, especially if you're only like considering the first half hour of the movie.
Specifically
Fucking
the
Christ.
D-Day invasion of Normandy. That scene it's incredible from a filmmaking standpoint. Like
Absolutely.
the shots they're getting, the action and the motion.
The
and
camera in and out of the water and
Yeah.
shit. Oh my god.
But yeah, just also the reality of what's being portrayed, the brutality of the like intestines, the guy holding his own arm, like
Yeah.
trying to put it back on.
Yeah, searching for it and just like looking at it. Yeah, this is. I mean, it's just a depiction of mass slaughter. It's just a very, very
Yeah. Talk
Oof.
about a meat grinder.
literally the moment that boat door falls open, half of your crew in the boat is shredded. They're just
Yeah.
gone.
Because they're coming up to the beach. It's an embankment which the Germans have fortified with machine guns
Yeah.
up on the hill. So they have
And
the high
concrete
ground.
turrets, yeah.
They've got the weaponry aimed right at you.
Like little slits in the concrete. That's it.
You can't hit them, they can hit you. And it's set up like a video game where like it's those stupid like mobile games where it's like just shoot as many zombies as you can in 30 seconds. It's just like Americans rushing out of boats and then Germans mowing them down.
Yes, and
It's terrifying.
I mean, at least from what the visual like depiction that we got was, I would imagine like of the first few waves of boats, like 80 to 90% died.
It looked like it.
It looked like it.
I know we tried to look at the numbers, but they don't really do it justice because it's hard to break down the percentage just in the first wave.
Yes.
But we saw that over 160,000 Americans were deployed to Normandy. But that first wave was probably more like 10,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Of that 10,000, I swear at least 8,500 of them were killed.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, the ocean is red with blood.
Yeah.
There are blood rivers coming down from the beach into the
Yeah.
ocean. Like,
You get a lot of the like nervous jitters too, which was really well done. Like the puking,
Yeah.
the shaking,
yeah,
the prayers. There's a lot of like religion shown in the Normandy scene
yeah,
on both sides of like, you see a couple of people like praying, kissing their rosaries and then like getting their head blown off.
yeah.
And then you also see the other side of that, the sniper, who's like one of our main
Oh,
characters.
true, yeah.
He's constantly like kissing his rosary and like doing a prayer to God, but then he's like getting successful kills. He's being like he's
Consistently.
dodging bullets.
Yeah.
So you see essentially like Spielberg's saying maybe this is not actually a factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
God doesn't spare you or make you successful, but
No, it's blind luck.
yeah, you
That's
you
it.
will either just die or live on your own merits.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought it was a good tribute to the fact that like the highly religious feelings that you must get in a life or death situation,
Oh, I'm sure.
living on the edge of your life at all times. Like,
Absolutely. I mean, you're going just full fight or flight. Like you are basically, it's just your lizard brain at that point.
if there's ever a time to not be agnostic, I guess it's like in a war.
Yeah.
Because in our casual day to day, it's like pretty easy to ask philosophical questions and like not give yourself an answer and just like do hypotheticals or whatever.
Yeah, and dismiss everything.
We can talk
whatever.
about God. We can talk about atheism, the emptiness of the universe. But when you're like running up a beach to a German machine gun fire and people are like dying all around you, it's a moment like that where like you just kiss the rosary and
you
throw
just pray.
a Hail Mary.
Like doesn't hurt. It definitely does not. It's not going to take away from your experience.
Before we get to the beach scene, there's one scene that happens first, and that is the opening scene of the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really valuable that they chose to frame the movie this way. You get an old man with his family going to the memorial cemetery.
It's kind of unclear who it's supposed to be as well, in my eyes, at least.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's on purpose. And we can talk maybe later about the symbolism of that and like the concept of brotherhood. But you just have a veteran with his family, and they're at a memorial. And I think Kaylin mentioned Arlington Cemetery.
It's actually the Normandy.
It's the Normandy Memorial
in France. Yeah.
In France. Okay, yeah. So they traveled here to be here, and it's just an emotional old man with like sort of like tears in his eyes a little bit. He's like welling up, and he's visiting a tomb, a gravestone. And then the camera sort of slowly zooms into his eyes. Yeah. And then you cut to the invasion of Normandy. Yeah. So by doing that, Spielberg is like grounding the whole rest of the movie in a lived experience.
Yeah, and the consequences of that lived experience. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's no longer just a war movie. It's like this individual person's actual experience in the war. Yeah. And it's a modern day person. Right, in 1998, I think it's supposed to be like 1998. So the people in the theater are seeing this as like a living document, like a memory. Yeah, not just a fictional.
I mean, that's probably like the exact age of a vet in 98 that would have been, storming the beach.
Then. Yeah, so I just really appreciate that touch of framing the rest of the story in the context of it being like the living memory of an actual vet.
Absolutely. It makes it so much more personal immediately. It's just like, okay, I have a connection with this guy. Why is he here crying?
Right. And it's concrete. Like you watch some war movies. I actually can't really think of any off the top of my head, but just like, just action movies, fictionalized accounts of wars, even if they were real wars. And it's just like, there's this distance because it's just a movie or whatever. And this movie doesn't really like give you that distance.
No.
And then
never.
It brings you right in. You're like, this is real.
Yeah. Okay? And holds you right there.
And then it puts you on a Normandy. And you're right in the D-Day invasion. And the savagery of that and the level of death, it really like raises the stakes immediately.
Yeah. God, I mean, just that and just like, the overwhelming stress of it too is just so pertinent. The moment you feel and you can see it's just like in the group of guys in that first boat when you're like looking around, just how they're huddled and they know they're probably about to die.
Right. They're just like shaking and kissing their rosaries. Like, oh God, save me. The thing opens, they just all get gunned. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a different type of man. It's a different type of human. Like, I just don't, I don't know if I have that in me, to be honest with you. That's like, unless, I guess it's for such a moral cause, it changes things.
Well, and I think you see a good variety of different types of men portrayed in the scene as well. You see a few people that have, I guess, like the constitution or like the will to act, rallying people, yelling out orders, making like concrete moves to gain land and like push up the beachhead. Yeah. And then you see some people that are just like quivering behind an embankment, like holding their gun and just shivering and crying like, oh.
And that's almost our lead, Tom Hanks, for a second. Yeah. He's like it's almost like he's been flashbang for a few, he's just kind of like sitting there, like almost like gently rocking back and forth behind that one of those like iron cross things they put on the beach. And he's lost for a sec and then just he pulls it together.
There's actually a number of moments where that happens for our lead. I forget the character's name.
I do too. Or Captain Miller?
Miller. Yeah, that sounds right. Good memory.
Thank you.
We see a number of times where Miller sort of freezes up, and he is sort of in his own head.
Yeah.
And the camera work slows down, and the audio goes mute. Or not mute, but like filtered.
Deafened. Yeah.
You get that underwater feeling where everything is filtered, and he's just indecisive.
Yeah.
And you get these moments where people are in his troop are like yelling at him like, Miller,
Yeah.
we've got to go. And he's just not acting.
Oof, and that's got to be so scary from their perspective, too. You see your
Right.
fucking commanding officer just, like, out of it.
But he somehow always survives those moments of inaction and then like does snap into it. And he shows a lot of courage in most of his scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But more important than courage, I think he shows like an intellectualism that allows him to make smart decisions and allows him also to like improve the morale or like control the morale of his people.
Yeah,
as a captain.
he has it on lock almost the whole time.
Right.
You know, like there's a few unlawful guys in the group that sometimes don't really want to listen to what the fuck he has to say. But for the most part, it is pretty rock solid. You can tell there's a lot of respect given towards him.
Yeah. But even in those moments, like specifically the moment I think you're referring to is like they're having almost a mutiny over what to do with a prisoner of war. One guy wants to kill him. One guy wants to let him go, keep him. And there's like they pull a gun on each other. And even in that moment, Miller just gets kind of quiet and like lets them argue.
Yeah.
Which I think is like that's a conscious decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he steps in with a personal story and distracts them because everybody's been like
been betting on where he's from,
betting on what he does,
on
what his profession is, because he's never told anyone anything about himself really, and that mystique actually like makes him a better leader.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, don't give all your cards away right away, you know.
And he finally uses that moment to like reveal what he was. And it just disarms the whole situation.
Immediately. Yeah, he's like, I was a school teacher in Illinois or some shit.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like, I think there's, like, a really smart person in that brain who's, like, very calculated.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting parallel, too, that he was – I don't know if this is fictionalized part of the movie, but the fact that they made him a school teacher.
Yeah.
And then having that set of skills translate – really effectively to being like a captain in a war does make a lot of sense.
I mean, absolutely. If you're qualified and, you know, good at wrangling, like, you know, children,
school kids, middle school kids.
Jesus Christ. Like,
right.
Adults should be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
You know?
Like all of the same sort of like group management and social diffusion stuff.
It just works better with adults most of the time.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got a really like smart, strategic captain as our lead character, which I guess we should go through the cast real quick. It's played by Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, baby.
I mean, everyone should know that. This is
Yes.
Saving Private Ryan. This is one of the biggest like movies of all time. Tom Hanks is our lead. I've got a few written down because I just want to run through them. There was a ton of faces in this movie.
So many.
You got Paul Giamatti, Bryan Cranston.
Dude, young too.
A young Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel, Ted Danson, Tom Sizemore, Anthony Goldberg. He plays the Yuden,
the
Jewish soldier who's
I'm
always
the
rubbing
Yuden.
it in people's faces, and Matt Damon, who plays Private Ryan.
Yeah.
He's the title character, but he actually has like one of the smallest roles because they don't find him till the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's a very, very small part in the whole movie.
But it's an emotionally potent role, and he plays it pretty well. He's still doing that kind of like so. The year before was Good Will Hunting for Matt Damon, and you can tell like watching him play this role, he's still doing the same style from Good Will Hunting. The way he's telling that story,
Yes.
and he's like crying, and
Yes.
he's half in and out laughing and crying. It's like it's okay.
Yeah, not much has happened. You know,
Yeah.
not much of involvement or evolvement has happened in his character. And
I think
acting
he's
ability.
still a pretty young actor, and he's like good at doing what he's doing, but it's not that deep. Yeah, his ability to like convey emotion, realistically is a little bit like rough.
Yeah, definitely. He's good though.
He's good
still, and it's pretty.
It doesn't hold the movie back.
Not at all. No.
Tom Hanks is great in this movie.
Yeah.
As is Tom Sizemore, who plays the sergeant.
Yes, agreed. Very good.
That dude's awesome. The other roles are all small cameos, I'd say, but they're good. I liked Bryan Cranston with the one-armed.
Me too. Yeah.
Like amputated general or whatever he is.
Fucking Vin Diesel. Ugh.
Yeah, Vin Diesel gets his sniper scene.
He does.
His role is also pretty small. He dies early, but it's a good role.
It is, yeah. Wish he wouldn't have been so stupid.
Yeah.
But,
So let's talk about this, I guess, next third of the movie, this sort of like opening part of the war.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've stormed the beach, right? The beach is secured.
Yeah.
They've gotten into the little German hole. They fucking fired it out and such.
Yeah, they're finally like claiming the beachhead. Mm-hmm. They're like burning Germans with like the flamethrower out of their little bunkers.
Yeah, essentially they're just like regrouping now and kind of like establishing small bases. There's like trailing people. One guy from a company will come in and his entire company is dead, and so just latches onto theirs, and that sort of situation's going on. Yeah,
you've got a lot of chaos and lack of communication. People on radios trying to assemble any sort of like
half the radios are fucking blown up anyways.
Yeah. But finally they do sort of like create a large scale camp, I guess, like a forward operating base. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. They have like muddy roads. There's trucks moving around. A lot of like logistics, supply chain stuff happening. Mm-hmm. I actually really liked seeing that aspect of the war.
Yeah, it's very realistic. You almost never see that when you're watching a war movie.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around with like 160,000 humans just landing on a beach and then just like taking a large amount of like the French countryside.
Yeah, and you don't know who's dead at all, and you don't know what gear you have, what made it, what sunk in the fucking ocean on the way there.
So you're essentially assembling an entire like new mini state.
Yeah.
In another country with like temporary like tents, and you're just driving trucks over grass and like building muddy roads out of like use, and
you're just camping.
Yeah, it's just large scale camping, very large scale. But yeah, they cut forward in time quite a bit there because you see Tom Hanks, Captain Miller, coming back to camp from a successful mission of some sort. I forget the details of that. It's really not important, but he's returning to his superior, who is like giving out new missions.
Yes.
And he's going to get the mission to go save one boy.
One boy.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that kind of leads us into the whole flash cut to the Department of State and such.
Yeah, we go back to the United States. You see...
the Secretary of State, but yeah.
This is also interesting. I mean, it's something that like I know in my mind, but I just never really like picture it this way. Mm-hmm. But they go back to the United States and it's all women.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 men and they're just like colonels and generals. But it's like all the actual work is being done by women.
Yeah, they had to be.
All the men are in Europe.
Yeah.
Or in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, that is the reality of it. Women did so much of everything from industrial work to paperwork to, I mean, there was
everything.
The guys were gone.
The entire country's like industrial complex was being handled by women.
Yeah.
Thus, you get the Rosie the Riveter type of propaganda. Exactly. It was an interesting era.
Yeah. And it's, that probably really pushed forward so much of the women's rights movement afterwards. It was just, hey, we just did all this.
Yeah.
like we literally just fucking did this.
I mean, for real.
Yeah.
It's got to have a lot of cultural impact because the men are going to come back from the war and expect things to sort of be the way that they were when they left the war.
Yeah, that's just not how this fucking works.
Right. Because in their head, they've just lived this journey, but they didn't see anything that was happening back home. But for the women, they just lived sometimes up to maybe like 5 or 6 years straight of like not having a man in the house.
Yeah.
Holding down all the bills, the rent,
the
like
kids,
all the income,
everything.
Doing everything. Like essentially a bunch of single moms running the country.
Yeah.
So that's going to change your cultural fabric.
Absolutely. I mean, even if that was just to happen for a year, let alone the entirety of the war, which it did. Yeah. That's wild to think about. I never really thought about that in that context before.
Right. War has such a large reaching impacts in like every aspect of culture, and I think it's really underexplored by just like by the average thinker or whatever. Like people just think it's about like territory and politics, and it's like maybe that's what starts them, but like the downstream effects of war on like the larger culture and the future of your country, all that stuff, it's wild.
It really is. That's why I'm terrified right now, to be honest with you.
The whole world is going to undergo some incredible, let's just say incredible transformations.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point of going back there in the movie is you're seeing a woman at a typewriter who is writing essentially like sorry letters to mothers who have lost their sons in battle.
That's her job.
Her job is just writing the letters from the State Department.
That's fucked up, dude.
Dear Mrs. Abernathy, your son died in the Western Front, etc. But the woman who's collecting all the letters, she notices that she has 3 of them going to the same woman, Mrs. Ryan. And she sends it up the chain of command, and it gets all the way up to the Secretary of State. And he reads this passage from a book that he has like earmarked or something.
Yeah, or a letter that he put in the book or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something to do with like a son who died in the war and him making a promise to the mother that like, I don't know, that it was meaningful, that it was worth something, that it was meaningful.
Yeah.
And the idea that he's going to let this woman lose all 4 of her children in that moment is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
And the one guy in his ear is like, he's probably dead already. We don't know where he is, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to rationalize it and just like get out of doing the work and doing the hard thing. And he just doesn't let that fly. He's like, no, we're sacrificing people to go get this boy. Because he understands like the downstream effects. Like,
yes, absolutely. The cultural implications, essentially. If you were to let, it could have just happened naturally. Like they might not have noticed, and then it would have gone untold, and then scarred their their family for generations. But that little tiny bit of hope of getting that one boy back to that mom, is worth a circumstantial amount. You know?
It's like, what kind of life does your country have after the war?
Yeah.
You need families. You need like one of these sons needs to make it back to mom.
Yeah.
It's important for a lot of reasons. Like, who's going to take care of her when she's old?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't have all these widows, and you can't just like do the Putin thing where you just send everyone in, regardless of outcome. It's a meat grinder mentality, and then we'll just see what happens. It's like, we still have to live here afterwards.
Yeah, they're gonna, for one, they're gonna crash their entire population.
Yeah,
like good luck.
Right. Good luck, like 15 years from now.
Yeah, 15 years from now, and then in like 130 years from now, you're gonna have like 50 people living there.
Well, if anything's still going on.
Yeah,
130 years from now.
Or we're all gonna be living there.
But the mission gets its way all the way to Captain Miller, and he is told to assemble a team. He gets to choose his team, so he picks his own guys for the most part.
Yeah.
But he needs a translator, both German and French, because they're gonna have to go talk to people.
Fucking hell.
He gets his sniper. He gets his heavy gunner.
Yeah.
And he gets his sergeant.
Yeah, like pretty elite small team.
Yeah, a few other guys. I think it's 8 total. I think it's 8 total, or it's 10, and they're down to 8 by the end. They lose 2 people.
Yeah.
But it's small. It's like a small little mixed unit, and they're just going to go look around, not necessarily behind enemy lines, just they're going to the place where they think maybe that Ryan was airdropped.
And then just like trying to do their due diligence.
Look for him.
Yeah, just anybody heard of him, seen him, anything. Yeah.
They move around like with U.S. troops at first. They're going from these different like little base camps to base camps. They're talking to the different captains of these areas, and no one's no one's seen him.
Yeah.
They even find a
James F. Ryan.
A James Ryan, but it's the wrong middle name and he's from the wrong state. They're like, wait, James F. Ryan from Iowa? He's like, no, I'm James Frederick Ryan from whatever.
Yeah. And they like ruin this guy's life for a second.
They freak him out. They tell him that all his brothers died.
He's like, how? They're in middle school?
So terrifying.
It really
But it like psychologically damages that guy too because he can't stop thinking about his brothers. He's like, I need to go home.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
That is a fucked up thing to do to somebody.
For real.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're linking up with a group of paratroopers that are all like reassembling and they get a bag of dog tags.
Yep.
And they're going to look through the dog tags to see if Ryan died.
Yeah.
But they're like doing it really tactlessly.
Yeah, it's really gaudy and horrible, to be honest.
A couple of the guys like pop down around a little table and they're all like divvying them up. And they're like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
And to them, they're just thinking,
let's find our guy.
Let's blow through this pile of dog tags because it's a lot. But someone rushes over after a few minutes of this when they realize that...
I think it's the captain. Can't remember.
It's not the captain. It's just one of the other guys from the captain's little unit. But he's like, you guys... He's like, not here. Like, all the paratroopers are watching. The whole air division is watching right now.
That's just their friends. Like, you're just literally just shuffling through like their friends' lives like
75 like dead friends.
Yeah, it is utterly disrespectful.
They're like throwing them to the side, like, no, no, no. Yeah. And then the camera like tilts up and you see like this whole row of marching like, just airdrop guys.
Just dead in the eyes, just like...
Yeah, they're like, oh. Talk about demoralizing.
Yeah. Especially when you're watching your own, guys, your allies, just flippantly just going through the death of your comrades like that.
Yeah.
Oof.
There's a lot of times I think like in movies like this, or just I guess in war, where like you get wrapped up in a moment, and like forget. Like there's a lot of like joking and like camaraderie and like. It's like middle schoolers in a locker room or whatever. And you sort of like forget that like there's death all around you.
Absolutely. I mean, in some ways, it's better if you forget. If you're able to detach yourself from that, I'm sure that you have an easier time at war.
Yeah. But then you have like these conflicts of reality and like sadness with like people acting like children. And, it's got to create a lot of like resentment or just like demoralization. Like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, I literally cannot imagine. Like, if I was in that paratrooper's shoes, one of them, like just watching and like, say half my platoon died or most of mine, I'm the only survivor.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these guys just do this, I might kill them.
Right.
I might be in such a horrible mental place. Just like,
it's like such a lack of awareness.
Yeah.
Context and like surroundings, like you're being watched.
Yep.
You're in a camp. People are like coming back from failed airdrops.
Yeah. Probably the hardest
These
thing.
represent dead humans.
Yes. Like, treat them like dead humans.
It's tough.
It really is.
I think following in that train as well, there's a bunch of German prisoners. And that's where you get the Juden scene.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Our Jewish compatriot, played by Anthony Goldberg. He's like has a 6-pointed Star of David necklace.
Just walking around.
Yeah, he's just like walking up to all the prisoners. He's like, Juden. He's like, I'm a Juden.
Me.
He's like shoving it in their face. He's like, Juden. It's very funny.
That is pretty good. That is good stuff right there.
It's very satisfying in a what's the Tarantino movie? Inglourious Bastards kind of way.
Oh, totally. The Jew Bear.
Yeah, it's satisfying in that kind of a way.
Yes.
I think this movie did a pretty good job with that character of showing the sort of like hardness and emotional difference that a Jewish person would have fighting a war like this versus just like your average non-Jewish person from America.
Yeah. I mean, just a normal, generally a non-Jewish American person or France or wherever, we had a whole bunch of allies. They're doing it because of the moral obligation. But when it's literally, when you're a Jewish person, I mean, they are genociding your race.
Yeah.
Like, it is just, you have to go.
Like, a lot of people were killed in the Holocaust, but Jews were like the primary demographic.
Yeah.
I think it was like 6 million Jews compared to a total of like 9 million in the concentration camps, at least in Germany specifically.
Yeah.
The other 3 million is like all the other groups.
Yeah. Combined.
So if you do the proportionality of that, Jews were the large target there.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they were very targeted and hated by Hitler, you know?
So, like, to be Jewish and to go over and fight this war is just, it has to hit on such a different level, a personal identity level, like an ancestral level.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even resonate with it because I have no, I don't know how to put myself in those shoes.
Right. I don't even know actually, like, what context could be generated on Earth that would even permit me to feel a similar way.
No. I don't. This is the war against straight white guys, bro.
Right, the war on Christmas. They're coming for us.
I'm allowed to say Merry Christmas.
I will not just say non-denominational happy holidays to you. No, it's like there's no context in which like I could possibly actually feel the way that he feels in that moment.
Absolutely not. I cannot relate to it.
He actually is in the Normandy scene where they're storming the beach. He is presented with the knife of it's a Hitler Youth knife, and he's given it by one of the other guys in his unit, and he takes it, and while he's still like face to face with the guy, he has some sort of like snide comment or whatever, but then he turns around and huddles up and just sobs.
Yeah.
He's just holding this knife crying alone. Yeah. You can tell he doesn't want anyone to see him, but for him, he just got so overwhelmed with emotion because he's holding a weapon that was almost certainly used to kill like many Jews.
Yeah, almost certainly. And even if it's not, it's the symbolism of
right. The symbolism, what it means is so powerful to him. He just like instantly starts sobbing and like has to take like a minute.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No one else in the movie does that.
No.
Like that doesn't happen to any of the other characters.
No. How could it? You know?
I think it's a pretty important character.
Absolutely.
To show that side of it.
Yeah.
And he's just funny. I just love seeing him. I love seeing him taunt the Germans. I'm a Juden. Like, he's trying to say it with like a slight German accent.
I know. It makes me want to watch Inglourious Basterds again.
I know. This whole movie made me want to.
I was like, I need to get some I need to see some clobbering.
I need some Nazi head stomping action.
Seriously, bro. I need the bat. I need it all.
Okay, so moving on with the plot, they're still not finding Ryan in any way.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting super frustrated, including the captain.
Yeah.
And he just basically has like a breakdown moment.
Yeah.
Where he just starts yelling. He's like, does anyone know Ryan?
Yeah, James Ryan.
It's that classic Tom Hanks like frustrated yell that he does. Just Private Ryan! Like,
anyone
he's
around.
just walking around yelling at people. He's like, do you know Ryan? Do you know Ryan? And like, finally, someone from the back just is like, wait. You mean James Ryan? And it just like totally works.
Yeah. I mean,
he just like yells at the entire brigade and yeah, they find him.
Yeah. Do they point him in the direction of that bridge scene then, or do they actually just find him there?
No, they don't find him there.
Okay, yeah.
They find his whereabouts.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone knows him. It's the deaf guy.
Yeah.
The deaf guy can't hear at all.
What?
He's yelling. He reminds me of, what is his name? He just passed away this year, the director of Twin Peaks, David Lynch.
Oh.
David Lynch plays a character in Twin Peaks who is also hard of hearing, and he's always yelling.
Nice.
Have you seen that?
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah. Put it on the list.
David Lynch is always just yelling in Twin Peaks. But this deaf character is like, they're just end up like getting pen and paper and like writing to him. But he knows James Ryan. He knows what mission he was assigned to, and he tells him that they're trying to hold a bridge because the U.S. Army needs to get access to like the city next to Paris.
Yeah. And there's two bridges left.
Yeah, there's only 2 bridges left in the countryside that go over there. And if they don't get one of those bridges, they will have to like build a bridge or
It'll be super messy.
Yeah. So they need the fucking bridge.
Yeah. I guess we didn't bring up, too, the whole time he's been progressively, our lead, Captain Miller, the shakes.
Yeah.
He's been, I don't know really what it's alluding to. I don't know if it's, like, alluding to actually some disease, like if he's, like, developing Parkinson's or something like that, or if it's just him kind of breaking down.
Nerves.
Yeah.
PTSD.
Yeah.
He has it in the boat when they're coming up to the beach in Normandy. The first thing you see of him is the hand.
Yeah.
Then you see the face, I think. And then you see it a few more times, at least twice up to this point.
Yeah. But you can tell also, like, his team is also getting progressively more
aware of it.
Aware and slightly worried about it.
Right. The thing is that, like, his hand shakes, but, like, nothing else. Like, he's actually quite stable.
Yeah.
So it's like this question, right, that they have is like, is it just your hand or is it your mind?
Yeah.
Right? Are you about to break or is this like just like what's happening? Why are you shaking? Right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's a fair question. It's kind of scary.
Because if your captain mentally breaks, your whole unit is lost. Especially with this captain, he's so good with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like the
pillar,
beating heart of this whole unit.
Absolutely.
He makes all like the right calls for the most part. He's definitely the person they look up to. He's almost like a father figure in a way because a lot of these guys are in their early 20s.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he's clearly like early 40s. And then the sergeant is maybe like late 30s or early 40s as well. There's like 2 older men.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of younger guys. So like without those older men, like those guys are lost.
They are definitely lost and then therefore dead. You know,
Right.
Really.
So everyone's keeping their eye on his shaking hand.
Very much so.
But he has a mystique, too, at this point, because they don't know he's a school teacher. We let that go earlier for you guys, but, like, a big part of this dynamic is based on the mystique of the captain.
Yeah.
No one knows how he's so smart or why he's such a badass or, like, who the fuck he is.
Yeah. He's just steady, he's rock solid, and he's a good leader, and they still trust him.
There's, like, a pool, a betting pool, if people can guess what he does or what he did back before the war, and no one's gotten it.
Crazy. School teacher boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're back at they finally make it to that bridge.
We skipped the sniper scene.
Oh, we did skip the sniper scene.
They don't make it to the bridge yet, but they
don't.
are on the way.
Yes.
And the next thing that happens is they sort of intercept they're going into a decrepit, like crumbling French village.
Yeah.
A lot of the buildings are half standing, half destroyed. It is like occupied by both United States soldiers and German soldiers.
Yeah.
So this is like a mixed battleground area.
Yeah. Very active.
Yeah, there's like active fighting, but it like comes and goes. And there's just like units from both sides like moving through this like slightly urban space.
Yeah.
It's not really urban, it's I don't know. It's like how would you describe like that it's a village, I guess.
Yeah, I mean like a classic
cobblestone streets.
Yeah, just picture
stone
small
buildings.
older European village and you have that.
Like the village from Beauty and the Beast that Belle lives in.
Baby.
But like destroyed by mortars.
Half of it is crumbling.
Yeah. So they're like in there and they find this French family like coming out of a destroyed building.
Yeah, they're on like the second floor of it. Like the floor is fucking falling in.
Like it's collapsed and they can't really get down. And there's a mom, dad, and I think it's 2 children.
Yeah, like a daughter and a young son.
And the soldiers are asking them for information. What's ahead? What have you seen? But the dad is just freaking out and he's like trying to pass his daughter down. He's like, please take her. She'll be safe with you.
Yeah.
And Captain Miller says no. He's like, no, we're not taking this girl with us. We're on a mission.
Yeah.
We just need information, and you guys can go back that way because that'll be safe for you, but we're going ahead. But fucking Vin Diesel's character.
It's Diesel time.
She reminds me of my niece, sir.
Yeah, I can't do it, sir.
He goes up and just like disobeys orders and grabs the daughter. And it turns chaotic, and it's like a big fumbling scene of like people yelling at each other. the captain's yelling, "Put that girl down."
Yeah.
Vin Diesel won't do it. And then he gets shot.
Yeah, pretty quickly. I can't remember. He doesn't have the girl in his hands at that point. I don't think.
I think she's like right there with him though. He might have just placed her on the ground or something.
Yeah.
But he gets shot like right away. And this is largely because, I mean, presumably because the unit got distracted. They're losing focus of their surroundings.
Yep, they're not listening to orders.
They're creating a lot of noise. They're all yelling, and they're spread out in the middle of this street. And there's a sniper in a clock tower, and he just takes down the first guy that he sees, basically.
Yeah.
And he doesn't die right away. He's just like laying, yelling.
Yeah.
Everyone scatters. There's a quote in this scene too that I wrote down. And I think it's important. They're getting the girl, and one of them says that it's the decent thing to do.
Yeah.
And the captain responds back, "We're not here to do the decent thing. We're here to follow orders." Okay? And so you're getting at this tension between morality and orders.
Yeah.
Right? And on the one hand, you want to say that like morality trumps orders. Right? Because that's what morality is. It's the right thing. Like the moral, by definition, the moral thing to do is the right thing to do.
Yes.
That's what it means to be
in this
moral.
Context, the individual morality is not as important as the group morality of trying to free them all from this war.
Right.
You know?
And what you see is the functional failing because like they've failed as a unit to like follow protocols that would keep them safe.
Yep.
Because they're all arguing and yelling, and it ends up getting someone killed. So like this smaller provincial morality like undercuts like the higher order morality.
Yeah.
Of following orders, because the orders are there for a reason.
Yes,
to
they
keep
are.
you safe.
Yep.
Right.
And it is human to, want to get that immediate satisfaction of being like, I can help this girl. Like,
Right.
I can do that.
Right now.
But you're also going to lose your life for it.
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Small picture versus big picture thinking. And the ability to like see that bigger picture and make hard decisions in the moment to get there.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty important line, and then it was punctuated with the sniper shot.
Yep.
Thus like proving the potency of the line.
Yep.
If you just put that piece of dialogue in a scene and then like nothing bad happens and you carry on,
It loses that. Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. But I mean, Vin Diesel, he's dead.
He dies.
He dies. So
the line has to mean something.
Yeah.
And it was proven true, at least in the context of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether or not everyone listening like thinks that's true or real, in real life, outside of the context of a movie, that's a different question, and you can leave it in the comments.
Hey, there we go.
But yeah, within the context of the movie, it was proven immediately that like the orders trump the personal morality.
Yeah. But that's also circumstantial because, orders can be full of deceit and all sorts of other nasty shit.
And by the end of the movie, you see the captain also going back on his own orders for moral reasons.
Yep.
Yeah. It's complicated.
That's the way it goes.
I actually think this is a great time to talk about the captain's rationalizations as well, because it goes hand in hand with what we just talked about.
Sure.
He has this whole thing when he's talking to the sergeant, I believe, about their mission. You've got 8 or 10 guys on a mission to go save one guy and take him out of the war.
Yeah.
And he's trying to explain how, like, when I'm a captain and I've lost 10 guys doing a mission, usually that means that I've saved 100, right? At least 10 times that amount I've saved, or even 20 times, 200. Yeah. He's like, for every 1,000 people that have died, we have to have saved at least 10 times that amount.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's the rationalization that I use to keep me going in all these missions. And these are both like older vets. I think they are probably on. I know the sergeant. This is his third tour. He mentions being in Italy at one point and Africa.
Yeah.
So these are like seasoned vets.
Yeah.
Discussing their rationalizations for war. So they've been around the block, and this holds weight for these guys. He's talking about how it's like a kind of a numbers game. It's like people are going to die, but as long as I feel like I'm creating a better impact, then the deaths mean something, and I can like use that to move forward and like power myself on the mission.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be the easiest way to do it for the human mind. You know,
yeah, numbers make sense.
It's just it's math. You know, it's very natural in our thinking process to be like, okay, if we can rationalize it through a given purpose of just using numbers, we can detach ourselves from the humanity of it and just push through.
Yeah, and so you get the big picture versus the small picture, and you can make a lot of sacrifices. But with this mission, not only are they specifically not doing that, they're sacrificing multiple people for one person.
Yeah.
The fact that they know it's only one.
Yeah.
And that it's taking that one out of the war.
Yeah. Not even just
adding to the. It's not like adding to the army's ability to fight the war. It's actually subtracting from it.
Yeah. And he wasn't even like a POW or anything like that. I mean, he was just there.
He's just a guy that they're going to go and sacrifice. They're going to put their lives on the line to get this guy out of the war. And he can't rationalize it the same way. And they're struggling to figure out how to justify their mission. And for a while, they're just like, he's just like, it's the mission.
Yeah. Just
following orders. And there's this like funny exchange between like a subordinate and him. He's like, what do you think about the mission, Captain? He's like, well, I would never tell you what I think about the mission because you're beneath me. I'll tell my commanding officer and they'll tell theirs. Gripes only go up. Remember that.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
He won't demoralize the troops.
Yeah.
Right. But in his own head, and he confides in the sergeant, he is demoralized. He's like confused at how to justify it.
Yeah.
He finally comes to terms with it later by saying that every time, like everything he does in this war gets him closer to his wife. Basically, that's what he starts thinking of it as. He's like, the war is coming to an end. Inevitably, the war will end.
Yeah.
So the longer that we're here, the closer I am to my wife. Which, you know, that's sort of a perverse logic.
Sure.
But he's just trying to push the war to its end so that he can go home.
Yeah.
Basically the way he starts thinking about it.
I mean, it makes sense to, you know, take such a big idea and attach it to something that's actually tangible. It's like, I just want to go home. And I'm going to do whatever the fuck it takes to get there.
It's that change in calculus, though, that allows him, I think, to betray his own orders in the end. Because now he's thinking emotionally. He's thinking personally. He's not thinking about numbers and objectives. He's thinking about, well, just my personal relationship to my wife, right? But by changing the framing for himself, that allows him to change it also for Ryan. Because when they finally get caught up to Ryan, they're supposed to take him back.
Yeah.
And Ryan refuses.
He has no interest in that, even though he learns of all of his brothers being dead and his possibility of him dying and his mom just being alone.
He says...
It's like, why?
He says, well, okay, if all my biological brothers are dead, then these are the only brothers I have left.
Yeah.
And he points to all his people. And he's like, I'm not leaving them before this mission's over. And so then Captain Miller is like, actually resonates with that. And he's like, okay, maybe the mission is more important. And maybe like your emotion can trump the orders.
Yeah.
And they stay and they like hold the bridge.
Yeah, they fortify it with them and all that shit. They kind of bond together in that sense too. He kind of like adopts himself into that little brotherhood.
It's a glorious battle too. Like
yeah.
It's maybe not bigger in scale than the Normandy invasion, but to me it feels like the bigger battle scene of the movie.
Yeah, it's framed that way for sure.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's longer lasting in terms of runtime,
especially for like one specific spot. You know?
There's more small scenes of different like actions and events that all take place and affect each other, whereas like Normandy is like one chaotic jumble.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is like a series of intertwined events that like lead to each other, and there's like this narrative to the fight and everything.
That leads us into my least favorite part of this movie.
You want to talk about that?
I don't want to talk about it, to be honest with you.
It's the most uncomfortable scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Easily, and it's also probably sadly very realistic.
Yeah.
You know, so we have the odd man out, essentially, of our team. He was the one who was only chosen for his interpreter abilities.
Yeah,
he can speak
French and German.
Yep.
And he's writing a book.
Yeah.
On
brotherhood.
Yes. Everyone earlier in the movie is making fun of this guy because he hasn't seen really any time in the war, like on the lines. Mm-hmm. He's more of an intellectual. He's a little skinnier than everyone else. Mm-hmm. He's more of a man of books.
Yeah.
And he's writing a book on brotherhood and the concepts of brotherhood in the war. And everyone is clowning him. And, you know, finally they actually do let him in because they're all like saying the phrase "foobar" earlier, and he doesn't know what it means, and no one explains it to him because they don't take him seriously.
Yeah.
And then
he gets better. Like, he does do a decent job until he breaks, you know?
Well, there's these little conflicts. Like, he wants to release the POW.
Yeah.
No one else does.
Yeah.
Most other people don't. He convinces the captain to release him. It's the moral thing to do. Mm-hmm. Later, that very POW they released he returns in this fight and is shown killing multiple American soldiers.
Yeah.
So another mixed morality situation. Mm-hmm. Is it better to kill the POW when you're behind enemy lines rather than risk it? Right? It's like technically a war crime.
Technically.
But at the same time, brotherhood. Like that guy ended up killing I saw him in the scene kill at least 4 or 5 Americans, right?
Yeah.
None of them would have died if they just killed the POW earlier.
Yep, especially that one horrific scene.
Yeah. So it's cause and effect, right? There's consequences to your actions.
Yeah.
So we have this guy. He's a coward, kind of, a book smart guy, not very experienced, and an outsider. But they finally let him in. They explain what foobar means.
Yeah, fucked
before
up.
that battle.
Yep.
And that to me was symbolic of brotherhood. They're bringing him in to the fold. Once you know the inside jokes and the lingo and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think they feel like they need him too. You know, it's about to be hell.
Yeah, because they give him an important job. He is the ammo carrier for the heavy machine gun team.
Yeah.
So they're posted up in an elevated position with a large machine gun.
Yeah.
And they need him to basically follow them around with lots of ammo.
Yeah, I mean he has multiple belts of ammo around his neck, you know.
And at some point in the fight, they get separated because he's too scared to cross the street when they do, I think. Mm-hmm. And he's
similar.
hiding behind the building, and they cross the street and go up and start shooting. And they're yelling to him throughout the course of this scene, "We need ammo! Come on!"
Yeah, and he just fucking slinks.
He can't work up the courage to get himself in the fray of the bullets. Mm-hmm. He's just afraid to die. And the two guys run out of ammo up there.
Yeah.
They resort to their sidearms, run out of ammo again.
Yeah.
And then a couple Germans start coming up the stairs.
Yeah.
And it's this tense moment where you don't know if it's Germans yet or if it's the ammo guy. Mm-hmm. And they just fire into the wall, and it's Germans.
It is Germans.
They kill 1 or 2 of the Germans in the front, but they're out of ammo. And
one of them dies too, and so it's just a 1v1 situation at that point.
It's hand-to-hand combat because this guy will not bring him the ammo.
Yep, he's still yelling the whole time, screaming his name.
Yeah.
And they know, or at least they assume he's right down there.
Right.
Moments away. He could come help them. He doesn't.
He gets into this hand-to-hand combat. There's a knife in play, and the German ends up on top, and it's the most uncomfortable, slow plunge into his heart. And he's no, you don't have to do this. We can talk. And it's just the knife is slowly getting closer and closer to his heart, and it just goes in. Mm-hmm. And you just see the breath coming out of him.
Yeah.
It's so hard to watch a stabbing.
And then
a slow stabbing.
Yeah, no shit. By that time, fucking Ammo Boy has so slowly, like step by step, while he's screaming his name, made it like
halfway
up the stairs, just barely creeping along. And by that time, he's already fucking dead, and it's the same German that he let go, the POW. And then he walks down, he looks at him, and he's just weeping on the stairs. The German doesn't even fucking touch him.
The German doesn't even bother fighting him, killing him. He just walks away. He's like, this coward is not a threat.
Not at all. Yeah. Does he die?
The POW guy?
No.
Oh, no. The cowardly ammo-carrying linguist?
Yeah, does he just hide the rest of it?
No, he, the way his scene resolves is he's, like, also too afraid to retreat with the captain.
Oh, yeah, he's just sitting there next to all those Germans.
He ends up behind enemy lines because the Americans have fallen onto the other side of the bridge, and they're going to blow the bridge. And the Germans have pushed up to the bridge as well and have a firing line. And he is just, like, behind and to the side. And it's actually very useful.
It becomes useful by coincidence only.
I don't feel that it justifies his lack of action earlier, but because he's behind them, after they try to retreat, he does finally, to his credit, jump out with his machine gun.
Yeah.
And he's like right in front of like 8 Germans.
Yeah.
And they all surrender to him, which is important. Like,
it is. He probably got a fucking medal for that too.
So infuriating.
I mean, it's like, it's hard to say what you would do in that situation,
right.
Of course, but it's just like to watch the cowardice of that and the magnitude of how the pussification. It's just fucking aggravating, dude. It says, just do your job. like
if he had just acted with more strength and conviction.
Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah.
Everything would be different.
Everything. That entire interaction could have gone so much better. For one, Miller might not have died. You know.
Spoiler.
Well, they've seen the movie.
But yeah,
you know,
it's hard to make these calculations because it's a bunch of what ifs.
Of course.
A mortar could have hit them anyways and they all die and there's no difference. But we tell these very specific stories and we show things a certain way, and it's like, yeah, I want to say that if he had just gotten them the ammo belts, we would have won the war 2 weeks faster. Like, who knows, man?
That's right. Hitler would have been destroyed.
But there's a lot in there with, I think, with the symbolism of that character and the concept of brotherhood.
Yeah.
And obviously Ryan being one of 4 brothers. The concept of brotherhood, like, is really huge in this movie. They go out of their way to point out that the guy's writing a book on that concept. Yeah. And he's the one who's not
the only one.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like an outsider's perspective on brotherhood at first, and then he gets brought in, and then he fails his brothers, but then he like redeems himself a little bit.
Yeah.
You have a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
You have Captain Miller, who sacrifices his own life by the end of the movie. He does die holding that bridge, which is at the request of Private Ryan.
Yep, and he says a very, very important line. Earn this.
Yeah, because...
Earn this.
Yeah, Ryan is like, don't die or whatever. Everyone's like, don't die. Also, the sergeant is shot and dies, I think like right in front of Captain Miller.
The sniper dies, too. I mean, they lose, like, most of their team. Of the OG, like, 8 or 10 that they had.
I mean, looking back on it, they might have all died except the interpreter.
Yeah. Dude.
I think so. Dude. But, like, everyone dies to save Ryan. And, yeah, he looks into Ryan's eyes, like, right as he's dying, and he says, earn this. Yeah. Like, make it worth something. Make it mean something. Earn this when you go back home.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, you cut back to the memorial cemetery. Yeah. And the old man is weeping.
Yeah. I mean, his entire family is behind him. He's got a wife and kids and grandkids. And he comes right up to the captain's grave. Yeah. And he falls to his knees for a sec and is like crying. And he asks his wife, he's like, did I? am I worth it? And all
he
this
says,
stuff.
tell me that I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Tell me I lived a good life.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
That's the other big one that I wrote down. The concept of earning it
yeah.
is like everything when it comes to a war like this.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandpa was in 2 wars, and many other Americans, almost all of us, have a grandfather who's in, or great grandfather who
Yes.
was in World War II.
Yep.
And we have this life.
Yeah. Yes, we are literally given this.
We were born into like a pretty good situation, and it is entirely predicated on like the success of World War II by the Allies and the sort of global order that took shape with the formation of the UN and NATO, and like this global order and the economies that like came from it and the stability of our lives.
Yeah, the stability. Absolutely.
All of it.
Yeah.
I mean, every aspect of what we've got going on here flows from the dynamic that was established after World War II. Mm-hmm. And you know, we have this one character, Ryan, who lived through the war. So he's like deeply emotional, reflecting on it. And he's like, have I earned it? You know, but then you have to like keep asking yourself that even as someone who was never in a war.
Yeah.
Right. Whose dad was not in a war.
Yeah. I mean, the disbursement and detachment that happens to the generations after that.
Taking it for granted.
Absolutely. I mean, I know for a fact, myself included, you know, I have definitely taken all of this for granted.
It's a natural consequence of lack of context and like distance and time. Mm-hmm. Right. But even as a young kid, like my family would visit, like the cemetery where my grandpa was buried. Mm-hmm. He didn't die in the war. I think he had a heart attack, but nonetheless, we would like visit this cemetery in Ohio, and it always stuck with me, like the dates on all of these graves, right? And you're seeing things back to like the 1800s. Mm-hmm. And I had this sense of like the connectivity of like generations, like all of the stories, right, that like these people lived, always made me feel small going in there.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the modern world does not largely respect that connectivity to history.
Definitely not.
Maybe with today's like conflicts like brewing up, people are starting to to like get a sense of like urgency or like a sense of importance with these things. But like,
I mean, the disconnection is just so different now too. You know, it's like we can see all of this all around us now on an unprecedented level. We are, if anything, more the depth of visibility we have into modern day conflict is so great that it's almost overwhelming in a huge way. Like I have a hard time believing that with the amount of conflict we're going to see, I feel like it's going to be hard for people to really band together the way like an old-fashioned community could have.
Yeah. I guess for me, the concept of earning it is about quality of life, right? So like living a good life in a way that is an homage to the people that allowed you to live that good life. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you have to fight in a war. It just means that like you have to respect the institutions and like the context in which your life is allowed to take place.
Yeah.
The sacrifices of the people that came before us to get us here. And it doesn't seem like it's being respected. It's in a lot of ways.
Certainly not.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
You see people like pushing us towards conflict and destroying our alliances and like,
long-lived institutions that matter. And some of those may need reformation, but it's not, you don't destroy something because you want to fucking abuse what's gone afterwards. You know?
Yeah. We're just going to have to do all of this again. This whole fucking process.
And we really might not get there. Might not happen this time. We got pretty lucky, you know?
Yeah, it disappoints me when people don't take these things seriously and they just take their life for granted.
It's way easier to.
Yeah. It's really corny, but like the freedom ain't free.
Freedom ain't free.
You know? It's just literally true.
Yeah, 100%.
And you just have to respect that reality.
Yeah.
And you got to be like willing to like read books and watch historical movies and like place a sense of value on your elders.
That's just not really taught anymore. You know, I just feel like the amount of emphasis that, at least even just in the difference between what I feel and think and was taught by like my elders compared to what kids 10 years younger than me are feeling and thinking and being taught about everything from, you know, war to history to just basic education. It's just being completely blindsided.
Yeah. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people try to like whitewash history or like change the facts or just lie about them, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Take books out of schools.
Yeah. In either way, too, you know, it can be, it's just don't fuck with history. Like, facts are facts.
Yeah, they are. And I know, like, in academic historical circles, like, there's obviously discourse on interpretations of historical events. You have competing interpretations, but you have like the same primary sources. So it's like, well, what did he mean by that? When you're reading like letters from James Madison on the founding fathers, but like obviously history is always a story that we're like telling based on our sources, but like removing sources is a different, that's not a matter of interpretation. That's just not interpretation.
Yeah, that is just...
You can't remove the information or just like blatantly lie about it. It grinds my fucking gears, dude.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's
abolishing the Department of Education.
No, we don't need it. Yeah. We'll just teach everything straight out of the Bible in private charter schools.
Oh my God.
Can't wait. Good job. Oh, juicy, dude.
When Trump was campaigning in 2016 and he said that John McCain, who was a prisoner of war, was like not he said, I like my soldiers who don't get caught.
Dude.
Said that in the debates to John McCain.
And it just didn't matter either.
And
which is crazy.
American public voted for that.
Yeah, it's like,
How can you watch a movie like Saving Private Ryan and then look at American leadership today and not want to shit your pants and puke everywhere?
Disgusting detachment. I actually just don't get it. I don't understand. I'm really thinking they just want to watch it burn.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Well.
What a fun episode, guy.
The concept of earning it is the key takeaway here.
Yes.
Live a life that your war veteran grandfather would be happy to see you living.
Yeah.
Don't be a little shit stain on society.
Agreed.
Okay, we can agree to that.
Yeah.
And then, the other big one in this movie is the concept of brotherhood. We've talked about it a bit, but laying down your life for the mission, sacrificing yourself, your individual wants and desires for like a nobler, bigger cause. Those are the necessary conditions for war, for a good soldier, but also just for like society in a way, like just raising a family, being a good friend, like
being a good human.
Right. You know? Don't be a self-centered little fuckwad.
Yeah, no fuckwads. We have enough.
Yeah. And these things obviously they're intimately linked, these concepts.
Absolutely.
Being a good person, like being someone whose life is meaningful and whose actions are like worthwhile.
Yeah, live a life worth living.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Is there anything we missed in this movie?
In the movie, not really. We're gonna talk about some stuff outside of the movie, like budget and Spielberg stuff, but really it's not that important.
Yeah, I think I got everything in my list. The only thing I had written here that I didn't touch on, I really liked how unstabilized a lot of the camera work is.
Yeah, it brought me closer to the feeling like I was there.
Yeah.
For sure.
The immersion that you get from not using dollies and cranes. And
yeah,
stuff.
dude, if everything was all super duper steady, like especially like on that first beach scene, it's like, why does this looks so out of place?
Yeah, that's one of my big gripes with like modern. Not all of them.
Of course.
The good ones are good, but like Marvel movies, etc., any sort of like big budget Hollywood machine movies.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's all like pristine. But this movie is like shaky as shit. The camera's like on the ground with the soldiers. They're running.
Yeah.
In and out of water.
Yeah. I mean, that's Spielberg for you.
Right.
You know?
He puts you right in the action and it just grounds the whole thing in reality.
Yeah. There is a reason he is the highest grossing director of all time, you know.
Yeah. Did this movie make a lot of money?
70 mil budget, 482 worldwide.
482 million?
Yeah.
How much less is that than Armageddon?
So it came in second place to Armageddon, same year. I did not look, but I imagine it's substantial.
Yeah. God damn it. The movie about Bruce Willis.
Oh.
What even was he oil rigging like a asteroid?
Yeah, he's the best driller in the world.
Oh, because there's like a comet coming to Earth.
Yeah, dude, there's a fucking giant comet coming to Earth.
Yeah.
He's the best driller in the world.
So they have to go up to the comet.
Yeah, and they got to drill into the comet and plant a nuke.
To blow it up so it doesn't hit Earth.
And they need Bruce.
Yeah, that movie performed better than Saving Private Ryan. Although not at the awards.
It's a better movie.
No, it's not a better movie.
Armageddon's a 10.
Earn it, Austin.
Armageddon's a 10. You heard it here first. Quiet on the back.
I mean, it does have Bruce Willis in it.
Yeah, true.
But Tom Hanks versus Bruce Willis?
Oh, it depends on the time.
1998.
That's a pretty good time.
For both.
I prefer Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element over anything Tom Hanks has ever done, personally.
Yeah.
Personally. I just love that movie so much that it creams him. But, you know, that's me.
It's a debate for another time.
It is. We'll watch Armageddon. I'll get him on board.
No, you won't. I've seen Armageddon.
Yeah, we'll watch it again.
We'll watch Forrest Gump and then we'll talk.
I've seen it too many times. I don't like Forrest Gump.
All right. Well,
I know. That's a hot take.
It's been an hour and 15 minutes. If you've watched to the very end of this, thank you. We love you.
Goddamn. Please.
Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Ring that bell for notifications.
Leave us
every post.
5-star review on Spotify and Apple Music.
We appreciate and love you.
This has been Quiet in the Back.
Shh.
Come on, everybody, it's time for war. Europe is in shambles, come and do your tour. Our boys are gonna fight, some might die, sending letters to mom with a tear in her eye. 4 sons went, but only 1 son's left. Gotta go get him and prevent his death. Kiss your rosary if you believe in God, and go charge that beachhead boy. It's Spielberg and Tom Hanks, a World War II classic in the bank. Gotta be the best, oh, you're forgetting it made less money than Armageddon. Vin Diesel is a hothead, he's got morals that are fluid. But just 'cause it's the decent thing to do don't mean you do it. Now he took a sniper shot and he's dying in the street. We're here to follow orders, Captain Miller must repeat. We should let this prisoner of war safely escape, 'cause it would be a war crime if we killed him in this place. But when he comes back shooting up and stabbing all your friends, then you might imagine that morality depends on Spielberg and Tom Hanks. A super duper classic World War movie in the bank. It's gotta be the best, oh, I'm forgetting this movie made less money than Armageddon. On classic World War movie in the bank. It's gotta be the best. Oh, I'm forgetting. This movie made less money than Armageddon. On Spielberg and Tom Hanks, World War II classic in the bank. Gotta be the best. Oh, you're forgetting. This movie made less money than Armageddon.